It's the Nerdy Facts presents The Muppet Show with our special guest, Terrible Kermit the Frog impression. Yeah, sorry, not really my specialty. But you know what is my specialty? Reciting accurate and obscure pop culture facts. So let's go. The Muppets were created by Jim Henson in 1955 for a TV show called Sam and Friends. The show was only 5 minutes long and ran for about 6 years, featuring a cast of Muppets that mostly never went anywhere else. There was one standout character on the show, however, who would break out into stardom. Kermit the Thing. See, that's how Henson initially described Kermit. He never envisioned him as a frog, but as a weird lizard-type creature. It wasn't until 1960 that his frog identity was decided on. Hard to believe that the beloved character we know today used to be just a random lizard made out of cardboard and material cut from Henson's mother's fuzzy green coat.
I'm green. It'll do fine.
But if you think Kermit's species seemed improvised, where do you think Henson got the word Muppet? In interviews, he told journalists that the word was a combination of puppet and marionette, which seems plausible, but he later revealed that he was just trying to sound more professional. The truth is, he just liked the way it sounded. Muppet.
A Muppet of a man.
In 1969, Henson was asked to take part in an educational show called Sesame Street. The show was not meant to be an all-Muppet spin-off of Sam and Friends, as the Muppets were only supposed to pop in for select segments. But characters like Big Bird, the Cookie Monster, and Oscar the Grouch were so popular that their segment became the entire show. Interestingly, Oscar was originally drawn as purple in Henson's sketches, but for the first season, his fur was made orange. However, he was later changed to green because the cameras failed to pick up orange correctly. But that's okay, nobody really cared about skin color on Sesame Street. Well, nobody except for the state of Mississippi. See, in 1970, a state commission in Mississippi voted to ban Sesame Street because of its highly integrated cast of children, for which the commission members felt Mississippi was not yet ready. Clearly, they needed to watch the episode on racism.
What has color got to do with being friends?
Finally, in 1976, Henson gave us Sex and Violence. That is to say, he released the first episode of The Muppet Show, which was, in fact, titled Sex and Violence. But unlike the show we would eventually know and love, it did not feature Kermit, now a frog, as the host. Instead, Nigel, the orchestra conductor, hosted the pilot. He was dropped because he was deemed too wimpy to host the show.
Not bad for an amphibian.
The Muppet Show introduced us to a multitude of new characters, almost all of which are left-handed, as the puppeteer uses their right hand to operate the head, while operating the arm rod with their left hand. There's Statler and Waldorf, the heckling theater duo who are actually named after two New York City hotels, the Statler Hilton and the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. There's Animal, who was inspired by Keith Moon, the drummer for The Who, Beaker, who in more than 30 years has only spoken 3 lines,
Say goodbye forever to dull bananas. Bye-bye.
And of course, Miss Piggy, who for some reason has a tragic backstory that Frank Oz gave to the New York Times. She grew up in a small town in Iowa. Her father died when she was young, and her mother wasn't that nice to her. She had to enter beauty contests to survive, as many single women do. Obviously, there's a lot more Muppets, but no one can follow Miss Piggy.
Why be you when you could be moi?
The show also featured celebrity guests for every episode, and each guest could request to appear in a scene with their favorite Muppet. Miss Piggy was the most requested, but Animal was a close second. Amazingly, during its 6-year run, no celebrity was allowed to be on The Muppet Show more than once. Eventually, the success of the show led to the Muppet movie, of which film director Tim Burton was actually a puppeteer for. The Muppets have since appeared in many films, including a 2002 television film called It's a Very Muppet Christmas Movie, which depicts the World Trade Center standing in an alternate reality where an angel shows Kermit the Frog what it would be like if he had never been born. Yikes, that's like the opposite of It's a Wonderful Life. The Muppets disappeared from film for a little while, until the Jason Segel movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. A lifelong Muppet fan, as evidenced by the Dracula opera in the film, Segel and director Nicholas Stoller pitched an idea for the new Muppet movie.
And I'm a very manly Muppet. Very manly Muppet.
In addition to films and TV, the Muppets have expanded to all facets of society. 2 Muppet songs have reached the pop chart, Rubber Ducky by Sesame Street's Ernie, and Rainbow Connection by Kermit the Frog, which also was nominated for Best Song at the Academy Awards in 1979. Miss Piggy has appeared on the cover of 6 magazines, including People, TV Guide, and Life, which proclaimed Miss Piggy for President in 1980. In '83, Fraggle Rock became the first ever show on HBO, which previously only showed sports and movies. You heard me, we have Game of Thrones thanks to the Muppets. Branching out of entertainment, Kermit is the only Muppet, or frog for that matter, to testify before the United States Congress, speaking on behalf of conservationists for endangered amphibians. He might not seem qualified, but Kermit actually has a doctorate of amphibious letters from Southampton College in New York. He received the honorary degree in 1996 for his environmental awareness work, and even gave the graduating class's commencement speech. Jim Henson, who reportedly created over 2,000 Muppets in his lifetime, gave his final performance as Kermit the Frog on an episode of the Arsenio Hall Show in 1990. After his death, Steve Whitmire was given the task of voicing and performing Kermit the Frog, which made him very uneasy. The night before he had to record his first scene for The Muppet Christmas Carol, Whitmire had a dream where he met Henson, who assured him he was right for the role. That's it for this edition of Nerdy Facts Presents. Be sure to let us know what topics you'd like us to cover, and don't forget to subscribe to see more videos and click on the bell icon to get notified when we release the next one.